For Video Workshop 5, Cognitive Development, noting places where I saw children developing cognitive skills. Child actively explores people and objects to understand self, others, and objects. I feel like both children demonstrated this as they both actively pressed buttons, flipped objects, rattled around the sensory table, both independently and together. The second one, child recognizes the stability of people and objects in the environment. I feel like the child demonstrated this by listening and following the direction of the familiar adult that they were interacting with. The third one, child observes and imitates sounds, words, gestures, actions, and behaviors. Both children mimic the adult in the modeling in the video by pressing the same buttons in the same manner and following those directions to other buttons and switches as the adult showed them where to press, what to press, how to press. What do you think the adult did well in this video to support children's cognitive development? For the cognitive development supports the goal of object recognition exploration, provided a variety of buttons, switches, toggles, different textures, shapes, colors. Another one would probably be cause and effect, including buttons or switches that produce different effects when pressed. A button that turns on a light activates a sound, sets off a vibration. So that together, under the goal of problem solving, incorporated buttons or switches that required a sequence of actions. I don't know if there was a sequence, but it looked like some of them were red and green. So that kind of related for me. It encouraged the children to think critically and to solve problems. The second one, or the last one, I'm sorry, was symbolic thought and play, including buttons or toggles that represent everyday objects. So those buttons, switches, could have been anything like in the house at that. What environmental, social, or activity supports do the adult provide? Environmental supports was layout accessibility. The sensory table was at an appropriate height for easy access. Safety measures ensured that all materials were safe for the exploration and they were age appropriate. As far as social supports, the collaborative play, encouraging children to play together at the sensory table, fostering communication and cooperation as they explored and manipulated the buttons and switches. Another social support was modeling, demonstrating how to use the different switches or buttons, modeling the appropriate behavior and interaction, just showing them how to touch the buttons while she was explaining. Activity supports. It was kind of a structured activity. The kid was there leaning on the sensory box. Didn't really introduce specific activities, but introduced buttons, switches, toggles, creating light, sound, provided kind of a structured learning environments. And then also it was open-ended, so it allowed the time for the children to explore freely, experiment with the sensory materials without predetermined goals, just fostering their creativity and curiosity. As far as anything I would change, I don't think I would change anything in the video given the context and the length. Other than probably tone of voice, maybe inflection, and just how that communication comes across to the child when asking or requesting them to do things, even at that age.